So I'd say that this video might cause some beef with other content creators, but nobody really knows who I am, so I'm not gonna worry about that. But today, I'll be debunking some plant myths on YouTube and diving into some misconceptions that one can have because of some misleading videos and some background behind these. Starting out with something I've done a lot of research into, grafting succulents. Mind you, I'm not talking about cacti and euphorbia. All collectors know that these can be grafted. But rather I'm talking about succulents like jade, echeveria, sedum, cotyledon, and members of the Crastacea family. These species can't be grafted. There's videos online that'll show otherwise, but they're lying to you. The rootstock will probably live because jades are pretty invincible when it comes to like over pruning them, but the grafted top will either die or create aerial roots and then die if you don't put it in soil. Shown in this video with some misleading things in it. This channel has 94,000 subscribers, meaning potentially 94,000 people saw this video. And I'm not going to show much of the video for fear of copyright, but this video shows burrow's tail or sedum and echeveria being grafted onto a golem jade. And it then shows the caption underneath, "Here it is now," and the grafted succulents are still thriving. If you aren't familiar with grafting, I don't expect you to see anything off about this graft, but to me, in no way does this look like a successful graft, but to somebody who doesn't know how long it takes for succulents to die when you take the roots away, it might look pretty convincing. However, a couple weeks after making this video, the burrow's tail and echeveria died if they weren't repotted, and the golem continued to grow as normal. They won't tell you this, and in fact there's a comment asking about an update, and I doubt, they will get one because of this reality. I'm not trying to throw shade at, these channels, really. There's no harm in experimenting with your plants, but it seems off to me to mislead people into damaging their plants with hopes of making a grafted succulent, when at least with these kinds, it's just not possible. I'm so sure about this, in fact, that if you can show me not even a time-lapse with just a progress pictures showing a non-jade succulent showing new growth after being grafted onto a jade, I'll send you $200. In their defense, this channel is not the only channel showing this deceivery. Here's another video from an even more popular YouTube channel showing the pruning of a jade tree and then the grafting of several foreign succulents onto the end of the stems. Notice how they are in an industrial succulent nursery, and this channel has 63,000 subscribers, so they can afford to kill their succulents for views, but not everybody can, and these grafts did not take as implied. It will be a fun decoration for pictures and videos and display for a couple weeks until the grafted plants start to wilt and die, and the jade continues to grow as normal. And this brings me to some of the reasons why this isn't possible. I'm not just saying it because I haven't seen any pictures. The science is on my side with this one. Some plant species are inherently more compatible for grafting with each other. Compatibility involves biochemical and physiological factors that influence how well the tissues of the scion and rootstock will fuse and grow together. Plants that are closely related or of the same genus tend to be more compatible. Mind you that although most, if not all, succulents shown in these videos are in the same family, they are not in the same genus. And it makes it extremely doubtful that these videos are legit. Mind you that when it comes to cactus and euphorbia, it really doesn't matter too much what genus they're in. It matters if they're within the family Cactaceae or the family Euphorbiaceae. Differences in growth rates, nutrient requirements, hormone levels, and responses to environmental conditions can affect how well a graft union forms and how the grafted plant grows afterwards. And even if the vascular systems are structurally compatible, other anatomical differences can hinder successful grafting. For instance, differences in bark thickness, cambium activity, or tissue organization can affect the ability of the graft to establish a strong union. Some rootstocks provide resistance to certain diseases or pests, but this resistance can be species specific. Using incompatible species could result in reduced resistance and compromised plant health. In the world where I'm wrong, and both these videos feature plants that went on to live long and happy lives grafted, consider how Echeveria grows. These plants do not form a thick trunk like a jade does, ever. No matter how long they grow, they only grow thin, long, weak stems when reaching towards the light. So eventually, these plants would droop downward off of the ends of the branches, blocking their leaves from sunlight, slowly killing the plant. Or at least heavily stressing it by making it grow upside down, which is not natural. Ethylene is a plant hormone involved in various physiological processes, including stress response and senescence. Differences in ethylene sensitivity between scion and rootstock can affect the success of grafting, as mismatches in ethylene response can lead to failure. There are so many reasons for failure, only one of them being fungus coming in and compromising things, or you doing it wrong with your cut. But with a failed graft, it's only a matter of time if nothing is done before fungus comes for it. So people who don't know all that it takes for one to succeed might just think that they're unlucky with fungus, or maybe just in life, which is why I'm making this video. You aren't bad with plants or grafting. It's just not possible to graft these kinds of plants regardless of what these videos show you. But this isn't the case for cactus and euphorbia. I have to talk about this video because it's just demonstrating, you know, those past deceptions on steroids where somebody tries to graft an Echeveria to a cactus, which, this is 5-minute crafts, and I know everybody dunks on them, but it's just as stupid. I mentioned before that there's no harm in experimenting with your plants, and this is true. It leads me to another misconception that people have, that plants can feel pain. I don't think that all of these videos where people are experimenting with weird grafts are necessarily in bad faith and like misleading people. This is a video where a woman tries to graft a lithop, which I have talked about in a previous video, with some sort of blue columnar soft-bodied cactus. And, you know, call me a hater for what I've said so far in this video, but I really wish that this would succeed for this woman, because it would be so cool if you could graft a lithop onto a cactus, but sadly there is a pretty much 0% chance of this working. But look how cool it looks, and, you know, could you imagine how cool it would be if this succeeded and the lithop could just continue to, you know, stack its leaves and multiply on top of the rootstock? It would be awesome, but sadly this isn't possible. But, I mean, lithops are really cool, so, I mean, I like just admiring that this woman tried doing this. It shows that she's really into the hobby.